catch 'em all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new AutoCAD video, except this one's a little bit different. This is on the AutoCAD web app, okay? It's a web-based or browser-based or mobile-based version of AutoCAD. Now it is scaled down a little bit, okay? It doesn't have all the available tools. You can't do 3D modeling. You can't do things like that. This is not AutoCAD architecture. It's not Inventor. It's not, SketchUp or anything like that. This is just AutoCAD. I shouldn't say SketchUp. I meant the Sketch app that Autodesk makes, which I actually don't know the name of it because I've never used it. But this is not that, okay? This is AutoCAD, and this is just a scaled down version that you can use at home, on the go, anywhere you want, even in school. If maybe you don't have enough computers in your classroom and you have too many students, maybe they can do it on their phone instead of actually having access to a machine, okay? Now, why are we going to use this? I think we're going to use it, based on the fact that we're going to be virtually learning for the first couple months or however long because of the pandemic, or we might even be fully virtual at home, partially or fully, depending on what the district decides, okay? Or the governor, I should say. So, this is important to us because we're going to, as of right now, have an A-B schedule where students come in on their A day, and then they're virtual the next day, and then they're back in again, and then they're virtual the last day, and then everyone is virtual on Fridays, okay? So this may be for you. Maybe your students only have access to a Chromebook. Maybe they're only given an iPad, or they're given a MacBook. Whatever you're giving them, they can use this, this version of the software at home or on the go, okay? So this is some of the questions that some people have asked, and I read some of this stuff. If you want to read this over, just pause my video. Nothing groundbreaking here that I'm not going to tell you in the video itself, okay? So how do you get to it? You go to web.autocad.com, okay? That'll forward you to this /login, and you hit sign into your account. Now you got to create an account. So if you're a student, you would have hit create account here. You would have used your student email address, and you would have created a password, and basically make your version of your account of the software. Okay. So if I go back to AutoCAD now, the full version, what I was doing was I was messing with just drawing a couple things. Okay, you guys are familiar with this software, hopefully, because you've been following my videos. But here's how you would save it on the app, on the web, okay, or on the mobile app. So if you go up to here, you're going to hit sign in, and you're going to sign into that account that you just created. Now I can still go to save as, and I can save this file on my desktop or on my hard drive, or if your school has like what we have a U drive, which is basically just a personal server drive that each student is given a specific amount of space. What you're going to do is you're going to drop this down. For that, you're just going to hit save, and that's going to save it to the location that you want to save it. That's easy stuff, okay? But how do we save it to access it on the internet? And how do we get it back from the internet, okay? So if you go to save as here, if you just hover over it and you go to the second icon, drawing to AutoCAD web and mobile, you would basically save your file in there, which I've already done, test. I'm just going to hit replace here. And in the web-based version, let's get back to the internet. If I hit refresh, you'll see your file there, and you'll see when it was last modified and who modified it and all that good stuff, okay? So if I click on that file, I get access to that file I was just using. Now real quick, how do I open that file again? So if I saved it at home, you gotta remember that saving one on your hard drive and saving one on the internet is now two different versions of that file. So you would have to either save it on the hard drive, use a jump drive or a flash drive to bring it to and from school, or fully work on the cloud and only save it on there, and that way every time you edit it, it's just one file that you're saving and opening and editing from home to school, okay? So if I go to the A and I hit open, you can hit drawing from AutoCAD mobile or web, okay? And it's basically the exact same thing but backwards, all right? So let's go back to the web-based here. Is this good software? Is it something that I would use? Yeah, it is, because it's browser-based. I can use it anywhere in the world. I don't have to download the software, and I can make quick, easy modifications to my drawings, you know, and you can't get too advanced. You can't do 3D modeling. You can't do architecture, you know, architectural plans with doors and windows and walls and things like that, as in like the AutoCAD architecture software. But you can do pretty much, you know, a lot more than I thought you were going to be able to do. Okay, so I can still, you know, click things. I can hit the delete on the keyboard. I can click and hold and create green or blue windows for selecting things. I can select things and still type in the command line like move. I can do base points still. Okay, you'll see that there's no midpoint right now, so I'd probably go down to O snap and I'd probably check midpoint, and if I wanted to grab that from the midpoint, move. I can do midpoint still and move that wherever I want. I can stay on the polar line and type, you know, 5, enter or something like that to move it 5 inches. I can go to draw and make circles and lines. I can click anywhere, or I can type a point like, let's see, this should still work with 10, 10. All right, so there's your start. And then from there, I can, you know, type in, I don't know, I want to go 15 inches. And if I hit tab, that brings me over to the degrees. I can do 90 degrees or whatever, and that'll go up. Remember, 0 is to the right, 90 is up, 270 is to the left. I'm sorry, 180 is to the left, and 270 is down, okay, for typing like that. Now, that's like using dynamic input on the AutoCAD software, which is, if I'm in a new file here, I'll show you. Again, we're back to full version of AutoCAD for a second. If I go to, let's see, if I hit F12, what that does is that turns on and off the dynamic input. Okay, so this is dynamic input. Now, normally in my classes, I hit F12 and teach the students how to create and draw using coordinates. Okay, so 5, 5, 10, 10, absolute, relative, and polar coordinates, which you'll find in one of my tutorial videos if you wanted to learn about what that is. Okay, but I think in this case, if I was going to use this with my students, I would probably start teaching them how to do the dynamic input way of doing this, which is very easy. It's just typing the number, hitting tab, and typing the degrees, like I said before. And it's, you know, that's probably the only change that we would have to make as educators if you were following my other videos and if you were drawing with the dynamic input turned off. Okay, so back to AutoCAD for a second. I can draw lines, I can draw circles and rectangles, I can do hatch patterns, I can still do dimensioning. Now, this is not full dimensioning, it's not the dim linear tool, but it does suffice. It'll tell you from point to point. Now that's interesting because I made that line, no, I think I drew that line random. Yeah, let's double check that real quick and just draw another line and make sure that this is accurately coming up. I guess I could have measured the other one. I hit my dim tool. I could also type in dim, and I go from my point to point, make sure that that O snap is actually turned on, which is right here. If you turn that off, you won't get the points. Object snap tracking here, or O track, if I turn that off, well, hang on, let's do this. Yeah, well, let's check the dimension. It's 15. That worked out well. If I turn that off and I go to draw a line, now let's see, O track I thought was something else. What does O track do? Let's come back to that. Ortho is only going to allow you to draw right, up, left, down. Okay. I'm not sure what O track is. I've got to look that up later, and maybe I'll put that in a future video. But you can see that you can do a lot of different things in this AutoCAD version that we would do in school. You can do offset. I can type, you know, actually in this case it doesn't want the distance first like I teach it. I would teach saying type the distance, hit enter, and then type the line that you want to offset and which way you want to offset. In this case, you would actually click the line you want to offset first. Then you would go either left or right. You know, it's going to be a parallel line basically, and you would type your distance and then hit enter. Okay, so it works like that. All right, so you know that's pretty much it. I mean, you know, you could hit save on your file. Obviously, I think this might actually automatically save every couple minutes, but you can drop this down. You can do save as. You can hit save, and then let's say I were to close the web here and go back to AutoCAD, I should be able to file, whoops, don't click on open, just hover over open, drawing from AutoCAD web, find your file and hit open, and then you're in that same situation again. Now maybe you want to back up your files by saving it on the U drive that we have in school, or on the desktop, or you know, saving it on the C drive or wherever you save it. But for the most part, if you're going to be virtual, whether it's partial virtual or fully virtual, in your school district, you're going to want to save that on the cloud and use that file to draw each time. Okay. Otherwise, if, for instance, let's say I drew something in AutoCAD, I saved it to the web, and then I went home, I can open that file, I can draw in it, I can save it to the web again and open it back at school. But if you were to save it on your hard drive at home, you won't have access to it on the web. If I save it on the hard drive and on the web, I now have two different versions of that file, like I was saying earlier. You want to be careful with that because you want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date file when you're going to draw, in AutoCAD. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I wanted to show you guys this software. It's free. It's free for commercial use. It's free for educators. It's free for students. They just started using this July 1st, and it's good. I like it. It's pretty good software. Okay, so it's going to help us a lot teaching with our students, and I think that that's something that everyone could get used to using between the two different locations. Okay, and even if you've got students that I've had issues where students have different locations that they are throughout the week. Maybe they're somewhere Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and maybe they're somewhere else Thursday, Friday. They can do it on any device that they have. They don't have to worry about the file not being there. Okay, so listen, I appreciate you guys watching this video. I am back on the grid. I'm going to start making videos in the future, hopefully in the near future, and let me know what you guys think about this software and using web-based AutoCAD and what you guys like and what you dislike. Okay, so again, I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks a lot.